Good morning, this is Sheila from She's a Sassy Lady, and this morning I am finally getting a project done that I've gotten many emails on asking me, would you please show us how to make a word book. So this morning we're going to take a few minutes time and let me show you step by step how we can put one of these word books together. Now I've kind of already started. I have a lot of this done, but I want to be able to show you so you know exactly what to do. Now, as you can see on my screen, I've got the word love, and I use Cursive 101 on that because I happen to like that font, and I made in 5.5 inches high the letters L-O-V-E, love. That is what my word book is going to be for Valentine's Day. It's a gift for my hubby. Now what I also did is I placed a rectangle on the screen, and you can get your rectangle from Plantanen, you can get it from George, you can get it from Gypsy Wanderings, wherever. Just get yourself a rectangle up there. Again, my height is the same as my letter, 5.5 inches high. Now what I did, the first thing I did is you want to keep your position, your left hand position over here, always in the same position. So that would be your X. So tap on it, and you always want to be at, if I put it at 2.0, sometimes it goes off the edge. So I put it at 0.21, my X axis, and I'm going to put that at 0.21. That's my X location on my mat. Oops. Let's try that again. The reason why I redid that is this particular rectangle that I had the square box around it, and I want it so that I have the actual size, and I'm going to do it again because my X on that, once I took and put the actual size on, was 0.53. So put your actual size on whenever you're positioning there so you have it in the right spot, okay? So again, I'm going to go 0.21 because I want to make sure that when I do my next letter, my letter O, that it is in that position. Now what I do is I take my words, my letters, excuse me, I make a copy of it, so go into your advanced key, make a copy, and then I place a letter on each letter. So I'm going to the O now, and there's my O. Okay. And I would place one on L-O-V-E. I would make a little, rename each one of these tabs so that you would have love, each one of the letters on there. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to physically delete everything except the E. So I'm selecting them one at a time. Oops. Go back. Sorry about that. Thought I had just one. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is take my L and move it over and place it on my rectangle. Zoom in, make sure my placement is right, and it's not, as you can see here. So I want to move it down a little bit. And I want to move it to the edge, the side a little bit more, so I have just a very little bit hanging over the edge. Now on my L, see, I've got just a little tip of that hanging over. On my L, I'm going to leave it so that the hole actually shows through on both. When I get to the O, I've already did a hide contour on the large part of the O so that it, when it prints the page, it doesn't cut through and you don't see through to the V. But since this is such a little page, you can't really put much on it anyway, so that's what I did. Now what you want to do is, I've got my L highlighted. I want to put my group button, touch the square. Now I've got both of them highlighted so they are grouped together. Then I want to weld them and preview. Now this is how it's going to cut, and remember, I'm leaving my L so you can see through a little bit. Now, I left this on my screen like this. This is identical to each letter that I'm using so that I can cut out my letters in a contrasting color. Okay? Now we're going to go to the O, and I'm going to leave the L up there so we can see exactly where it goes. The first thing I want to do is line up my square so that it's up and down the right. Okay, and then I want to make it a little bit larger because as you can see, it's swallowed up on that L. So I don't know, let's go width only, and we're going to increase it. And I think I've got it pretty much so. I've got to zoom in to see. Okay, let's move it up. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to go to my basic key, and I want to go to the X, and I want to set this at 0.21 so I can see how much space I have. Okay, looks pretty good. Let's grab the O and move it over. And no, it's too small because look at how the O is sitting on top of that and I haven't even reached the edge. So let's move the O, and I'm sorry I had it. You can tell I've been working with this already. I'm going to take off the weld on that. Move my O back over, and the first thing I want to do is line that back up on the bottom, and I'm going to increase that again, just the width. But it's going to take it to a little over 5. I'm going to play with it. Let's go. Okay, now we have it selected. Go to the X again, put it at 0.21. Now my left hand margin lines up, and look at, there's the O, it's partially on there. Let's move it over. See how it fits within there. And I think it's a little bit too large. Because look at, see, I've got a large space in there, and if I continue, if I do that, it'll go way off to the side. So zoom back in again, move the O out of the way. Just enough so you can grab a hold of the box. Okay, got the box, and I'm going to take the width down just a little bit. Okay, now I have to go to my X-axis and set my left column to 0.21. See how you always got to do that so that it lines up. Okay, now let's move that O back over and see how it looks. Oh, it looks better already. Oh, that's it. That's what we want. I think I could actually make that box a little bit smaller. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, have we got it? Yeah, we've got it. Go to width. Decreased it just 2 taps more. And go to the basic, go to my X-axis, and I'm going to set that at 0.21. And now you do this step all the way through on each one of the letters, and you just move them over and get them in. Oh, look at how nice that fits. Just right. Okay, L-O. Let's zoom out so you can see it. See how it sits nicely there? Now, all you have to do, guess I went too far, huh? Put that back. Okay, let's zoom in. All you have to do at this point is group them. So we have the O, we have the rectangle, they're grouped together, weld them, and look at them. Remember, I already told you that I took off and did the hide contour. Okay, let's knock that off. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you each one of my letters. Oops, let's go back to the O. Just by opening up so you can see, look at that. Isn't that wonderful? How they just line up. So you do the same thing on every one of the letters till you go all the way across, and I've got hugs and kisses, XOXO. See, isn't that nice? Now we're going to hide them back one more time because there's another little goodie that I need to show you. At this point, you need to take and every one, and I'm hiding each one of them here, and we're going to go back to the L. You need to take every one of the letters and copy it and paste it on a separate page so that you can do your chipboard. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean. I've got at the very end, I have a tab called chipboard, and all I did was copy and paste each one of my letters, and I want to hide the O. Hide the L. Okay, and see how every one of the letters are hidden? Excuse me, every one of the letters are hidden, but I have each one of my pages on this. The reason why I did that is so that you can cut your chipboard. Okay? Now, we're going to take a break, and I'll come back in just a minute.